Let's kill some of our fellow Americans. Yeah. Let's kill Americans and blame someone else. It's guaranteed to get the necessary support to begin an unprovoked war against another country. We'll just pretend it's terrorism on American soil. What about this one? He knows too much. We're going to have to kill him. Make it look like a suicide. He hasn't committed any crimes. We're going to make his wife a widow and his children fatherless, but it's necessary. Of course, these are just conspiracy theories. Could never happen on American soil, right? Regrettably, wrong. According to Paul Craig Roberts from the Institute for Political Economy, the term conspiracy theorist was invented by the CIA in order to prevent disbelief of official government stories. Per Mr. Roberts, in 2013, Professor Lance DeHaven Smith, in a peer-reviewed book published by the University of Texas Press, showed that the term conspiracy theory was developed by the CIA as a means of undercutting critics of the Warren Commission's report that President Kennedy was killed by Oswald. The use of this term was heavily promoted in the media by the CIA. Now let's dig in. Operation Northwoods, which had the signed approval from every member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, called for the murder of innocent American civilians. Civilians. Violent terrorism was to spread throughout United States cities. Planes were to be hijacked. Boats carrying Cuban refugees were to be sunk at sea. Fidel Castro was to be blamed, and America was to wage war on Cuba in return. Operation Northwoods also called for an attack on one of Cuba's neighboring countries, like Jamaica or Trinidad and Tobago, just so that Cuba could be blamed and America brought in to defend the attacked country. This entails the senseless deaths of many more innocent people, just so that the United States could wage war on Cuba, which ultimately would lead to the deaths of many patriotic Americans lost in battle. This plan was drawn up over 50 years ago. But I ask you, does any of this sound familiar? I need look only to 9/11 to see glaring similarities. But that was 17 years ago. Has anything happened more recently that bears any resemblance of what I just described? I suggest looking more closely into the chemical attacks that happened in Syria less than 3 weeks ago. I'm confident there's more to come from that story. And let's not forget about Frank Olson. Who? Who's Frank Olson, you ask? Well, I'm glad you did. Dr. Frank Olson was a bacteriologist and a CIA employee for approximately 3 years, until he was thrown out of a 13th floor window to his death. Olson's work focused on biological weapons. He traveled to research sites in Europe where he reportedly witnessed the murder of several people by the CIA using biological agents that he had developed. Olson voiced his displeasure and was eventually taken to a secret meeting on November 19, 1953, where he was unwittingly given LSD as part of the CIA's MK Ultra program, where they test psychotropic drugs on people without their knowledge. He was then brought to New York for psychiatric treatment as he reportedly became unstable and violent. 9 days after he was given LSD, at 2:30 a.m. on November the 28th, Dr. Olson went flying through his window, through his blinds, to his death. He was in a hotel room shared by another CIA employee. It seems a bit odd that he didn't open the blinds and the window before leaping. The CIA initially claimed that his death was an accident, but in the 1970s, the CIA admitted that Olson had been drugged and actually committed suicide. The family of Dr. Olson was paid $750,000, and then President Gerald Ford offered an apology. The Olson family was not content with these findings, and in 1996, they exhumed his body and found what appeared to be a blow to the head suffered prior to his fall. The family is still attempting to sue the government. In conclusion, ignorance must truly be blissful, because when you don't know the truth or willfully refuse to believe it, life doesn't seem so bleak. It's much easier to have hope in tomorrow. But as for me, I fully believe the truth shall set you free. Thank you.